Mike Bohn here, joined by a man you all know very well in Jake Paul, who fights Anderson Silva October 29th. And Jake, we are getting very close, but I wonder, is there any, anxiety, nerves, considering how the last few fights have fallen apart or opponent change around this time out from the fight? Or are you pretty confident we're going to get through these final few weeks without issue?
Yeah, there definitely is some anxiety in regards to that, but I'm very confident. I know Anderson is tough. He's going to get in the ring. I'm going to get into the ring. No excuses, and October 29th, we both have a responsibility to put on a show for our fans, and he's a legend. I've gone into fights with broken noses, messed up elbows. So, I'm not scared of a challenge. And regardless of anything happens in the next couple of weeks, knock on wood, I'm getting in the ring.
And obviously, for the most part, until fight week, the work is done in terms of promotion. You'll do some more interviews and stuff, but you got to do that media tour with him, spend some time, do the press conferences. What was your biggest takeaway from that with Anderson? Is there anything that maybe you learned about him, whether it was about him as a person or mentality wise from that few days you spent with him?
Look, I think he's just a real professional. We have a lot of similarities in just having fun throughout the days and making light of a ton of situations and just being a good, genuine guy. He just has a big heart, and the people around him are really nice. And so, you could tell how someone is by the people who are around them. And so, just all the way around a solid guy. And yeah, this is there's a lot of promotional content coming out. The All Access is going to be dropping the week before the fight. We have a commercial that we shot that's coming out. So yeah, we got to spend a decent amount of time together, and he's just dope.
Is there any fear or maybe concern that I know you said at the press conference, like, I can't believe I'm sitting next to this guy. Like, it's almost a trip. You guys remake the classic photo from when you first met him. Like, when you're standing in the ring with him on October 29th, are you going to have to like mentally check yourself so you're not starstruck in any way?
Yeah, I think the first like 15 seconds of the fight will be a little bit weird just because if you've seen Creed or Rocky, it's like all the lights are on you and there's 20,000. It really like feels like you're in a movie. It's like a surreal feeling. And then I'm just going to be like, my brain is definitely going to be like, why am I in the ring with Anderson Silva right now? Like, this is really weird. But after that first 15 seconds, usually for me, what it takes to get into the fight is to get punched once. So like when I get hit once, that's when I like am in the zone. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that feeling feels, but I'm gonna try to get rid of it as fast as possible.
Yeah, no doubt. And we'll circle back to Anderson in a few, but I want to ask you, since we are, MMA Junkie, you dropped this big tease on your podcast, BS with Jake Paul, very recently saying, you have a potential big announcement coming. You're interested in an MMA move. Is there any more you can give us here, Jake? I know, you do the initial tease and then you give us a little more info and then the announcement comes. You know how this works. Give us a little bit more.
I can't actually. I sort of got in trouble for talking too soon. I just got excited, but I can show you one thing just really quickly. But you this is all you get. That's it. That's all you get. That's the only information I'm giving you.
All right, we'll take it for now. Any timeline maybe? Like, do you think if you go till 2024 without having fought in MMA, would you be disappointed?
I wouldn't be disappointed. No. We'll just see what happens, man. You're good. You're gonna pry out the information.
All right, I'll leave it be then. I'm curious about the podcast though. Like, what obviously a lot about the media game. You've mastered it in many ways. What to you made it feel right that like that was the next step, doing your own thing? You obviously have an incredible Rolodex of people you can contact and bring on. You've seen kind of the guest list so far. Why did you feel like that was a good move for you?
Yeah, I think sports media is just ran by a lot of like older individuals, and I wanted to bring something new in talking sports and awareness around sports. Who are kids going to watch in the next generation? It's, Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp. I love those guys. I have so much respect for them. Stephen A. Smith is on the show tomorrow. We had a crazy, interesting debate, but there isn't that younger sports fan base, and I wanted to be the one to talk about it. I love sports, from boxing to football, to tennis, whatever it is, golf. So I just felt passionate about creating a show, and my new company Better launched, and that's our goal, is to take over the sports media landscape, and that's what we're doing. Our other show, the 100X Club, Marco and Tony Sharp, already in the top 10 sports podcasts. So really just reinventing the landscape and bringing a new breath of fresh air to it.
What do you feel like the next step is with that podcast? Do you think do you want it to be like a YouTube thing and obviously podcast platforms so you can keep control of it? Or do you think, one day would you like it to be on TV or things like that?
I think it would be sick for it to be on TV. That would require like a lot more time. I think the cadence is really good right now, like once a week. But I just want to open up the access. There's so much of athletes' lives that we don't get to see or be a part of. And I just want to get more access with them, get into the deeper conversations. And it's a skill and it takes trust. And so I have to build the trust of the fan base and with these athletes who are friends, but that, they don't necessarily know what my intentions are or what it is that I want to show. And so we're just continuing to look at these interviews in a different light, and it's not perfect. It's not easy. But I see a super dynamic show, in the next couple of years being developed, even more differentiated than it already is now.
Yeah, curious to see where it goes from that. Hey, I wanted to ask you, I saw you tweet a little bit about this Chris Eubank situation today. What do you make of everything that's going on over there right now?
I think it's crazy. These fighters getting tested and coming up positive. I don't know like what goes on in their mind, but respect to Eubank for continuing to want the fight. He's not backing down. And so I think that says a lot. He doesn't care whatever this guy has been doing. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And obviously, that's an Eddie Hearn promoted show. There's this drama going on. He said he's filing a lawsuit against you over, the statements about the judging and stuff. He said he would walk it back if, you made a public apology. Do you have any interest in, clearing the air on your stance there? Or is that something that maybe you can't talk about at the moment?
Yeah, no, I'm not even focused on it. I have this fight coming up October 29th. And my lawyers are dealing with that. So I haven't really even put any thought into it. Don't care. I get sued all the time for stupid shit. I'm 5-0 in lawsuits, and I'm 5-0 in the ring. So I got all the time in the world, all the money in the world. And I'm just focused on October 29th. Pull up, everyone. Get your tickets. Desert Diamond Arena, Ticketmaster.com. I want to see y'all there. Get the pay-per-view, Showtime.com/pay-per-view. You already know.
You mentioned the pay-per-views. Do you have a gut feeling? How well does this one do? Like, do you think this is your highest selling pay-per-view? Are you willing to put out a number into the atmosphere you feel like this is going to do between you and Anderson?
Yeah, I do think this will be the biggest pay-per-view. And I would say, yeah, like I would be happy with, anywhere from 300,000 to 500,000. But I think it can get all the way up to like 600, 700,000. Depending on how like the fight week goes and the promotion and all access, if that performs well. So I'm excited, man. And I think this could be the biggest one for sure.
And a lot of people, myself included, thought it was, the right move in this timing with after, the fights with Tommy and everything fell apart to kind of go back to the MMA angle and do this fight with Anderson. He said that he doesn't feel, though, that he's representing the MMA community at all in this fight. Are you surprised to hear him say that? Do you disagree? Do you feel like going into this is kind of you versus MMA still in a way? Or do you think because he's done his stint in boxing here, he's maybe distanced himself from that narrative a bit?
No, he's definitely representing the MMA community. I think he just doesn't want that pressure, maybe, because even Tyron said the same thing, but like clearly they are representing the MMA community, and a ton of the MMA fans want to see me lose. There's a feud between us all. So he definitely is representing his legacy and all of that, and the reason this fight happened was because Dana White said I wouldn't do it. And I had to check his bluff and prove to everyone, including him, that I'm not scared of Anderson Silva. I just wanted him after Tommy Fury. I wanted to check off pro boxer and then go for Anderson Silva. So this is definitely MMA versus, I guess, myself.
I'm guessing Dana never hit you back up about that bet you put out there.
Nah, he's gone into hiding, bro. Of course. He's asked media to stop asking questions about me or Anderson. He's threatened to take away their media credentials if they ask any questions about us. He doesn't want to feud with me anymore. He's been on the losing end of it the whole entire time. I'm making his company, look bad. I'm exposing the flaws in his business and the fact that he doesn't pay his fighters anything. He wants to end this feud with me. And he's definitely pissed off that he sold this fight. He said Anderson's the greatest striker in combat sports history. Jake Paul will never fight him. And then, of course, I go and do exactly that.
Yeah, and continuing kind of the MMA side too. Obviously, I know you've been asked about Nate Diaz, and I respect you saying you're just focused on October 29th and accomplishing your mission that night. But having that carrot kind of dangling out there, it's more real than it has been. He's a free agent, so to speak. He's got his 3-month negotiation period exclusive with the UFC. Then he can start talking to other people. But having that at least dangle out there and feel more real, is that something that like motivates you even more going into this fight? Like, hey, knowing if I win here, what it could potentially lead to with Nate?
Yeah, is that how it works? There's like a 3-month period. Yeah, I don't know. I would be surprised if he actually was a free agent. I feel like Dana has ways of tying these guys in, like hidden into the contract. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, if he can actually become a free agent, then I think that's a cool fight. I would love to do that. I'm not overlooking Anderson Silva, but there's beef between Nate Diaz and I. He's a big name. He went out with a bang, had an electric performance, and people are saying, "Oh, you're fighting these retired MMA fighters." Like, no, I'm not. Anderson never retired, and Nate Diaz left winning. And he's one of the baddest men on the planet. So what about fighting an active UFC fighter? What now? So that's why I think that fight is interesting. And hopefully I get through Anderson, and hopefully Nate Diaz can get out of his contract, and we'll see if that makes sense.
Yeah, and so my understanding, just to, I guess, give you the info, is he finished the final fight on his contract that night. There's a 3-month exclusive negotiation period where he can only speak to the UFC. Then once that's done, he can speak to other people, but they have a 1-year period where they can match any deals. So say, another promoter for MMA comes in, offers them X amount of money. UFC could match that, but obviously they couldn't match a boxing fight with Jake Paul because they don't run boxing fights and they don't have you under contract. So, they wouldn't have the ability to match that. So it could come to fruition, I guess, once it's 3 months end.
Wow. You're basically a lawyer. You're hired. We'll hire you. Most valuable promotions. My guy's got all the facts. I guess yeah, that's I mean that's very complicated,
Mhm.
and like I said, that's a lot of legal jargon to cipher through. So I don't know what will end up happening. There are other big fights out there. I think after I beat Anderson Silva, a lot more people will want to fight me. I think bigger boxers will want to fight me. And if I can beat Anderson Silva in the way that I think I can, it creates this paradox. Let me explain it to you. If I can do that, sir.
Let's
Um,
go.
can, uh, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. versus Canelo. 12-round fight, very competitive. Julio Cesar Chavez versus Anderson. Anderson wins easily. Anderson's better than Julio Cesar Chavez, which means that Anderson would have been more competitive with Canelo. I beat Anderson. That makes me highly competitive with Canelo. Think about it. Think about
That's
the
Canelo's
paradox.
still the dream, right? Even though he had that loss more recently, that didn't take anything away from it from you.
No, I mean he's still the biggest name in boxing. Him and myself. So I want to make the biggest fight possible, and I would love to see the look on everyone's face when I beat him, because no one would believe that at all. They think it's impossible. Um, and it's very hard. And I'm not saying it's going to be like easy, but I think I can pull off the impossible. Let's say I have a 10% chance of winning or a 20% chance of winning. I'm gonna win based off of that percentage. Um, and just think about the paradox, man. I just laid it out in a nice graph format, so people should start to understand what's going on here.
Okay, well, we'll see how that's the reception is to that. And I know we're short on time here, so just last thing. It's been about 20 months since you and I did that big interview for, first time we spoke, Rolling Stone for MMA Junkie here. And, you put these things out into the world. You said, I'm going to be boxing Nate Diaz in the next couple of years. What should I do? Conor McGregor potentially after that. Sitting here right now, October 2022, are you where you thought you would be at that time? Behind schedule, ahead of schedule? How do you define your journey from talking a few months before that Ben Askren fight to where we are now?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because even when I was saying those things, like people really didn't believe it, but I'm right on schedule. Right on schedule. Everything is going to plan. Um, so that's why, I'm making outlandish claims in this interview that people won't believe. But guess what? 2 years from now, who knows what's going to happen? Uh, I got a crystal ball in my room back there. It's right over there. It's a crystal ball, and I can see the future.
Do you feel like those goals, it seems so crazy at the time, but we're getting closer and closer to it. Do you have to reevaluate and say, maybe that's why you put the Canelo thing out there now, which you weren't saying obviously a few years ago? Do you have to constantly reevaluate these things as you, surpass them and get close to them?
Yeah, exactly. I'm always pushing myself, pushing my limits, and thinking about what is slightly impossible, but definitely somewhat possible. And I chase those things and go for those things and reset my goals at the top of each year. And I'm getting exponentially better in the ring. And so I know what I can do and what I'm capable of.
Okay, so when you look into that crystal ball in your room for October 29th, what does it say for how you beat Anderson Silva? Are you willing to, give a firm prediction which round you knock him out? I'm sure the goal is to knock him out.
Yeah, knock him out before round 5. That's my prediction, and I strongly believe in that.
Respectfully, of course, right?
Respectfully knock him out with love and grace and a kiss. Yeah.